Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to the BookFest Author Chats. We've got another list of great authors that are joining us today, and we are so excited to get to talk about their work and get to hear a little bit more about what makes it so special. I, of course, am Jay Gordon Curtis. You can call me James. I will be your host, and I have a knife through my head because it is Halloween. So we are going to kick back and talk about some spooky topics and try to enjoy the festive season a bit. All right. Well, and by the way, don't forget that we are also offering a giveaway. So feel free to stop by and don't forget to get your name in there. Otherwise, though, we are going to just get started and get rolling with the good times. So, up first, we are going to be talking with Casey Griffin. Gonna go ahead and bring you on stage, Casey. Casey is a writing instructor and author of Shrouded Horror Tales of the Uncanny. She's going to share a short horror story with us, along with her favorite tips that assisted with its creation. Hey, Casey, how are you?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me on the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got a reading for us today?
That's right. It's a 600-word ghost story, so pretty short. It is called Lonely Arcade.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was first published online in Stupefying Stories, and it was reprinted in my short story collection, Shrouded Horror, that came out last year. And I'll kick off the reading now. The Boardwalk Arcade, which stank like rotting driftwood, is where Trish initially saw the ghost. At first, she thought it was a dirty smudge on the wall in the corner arcade where no one went but her. During summer break, all the other sixth graders hung out at the glitzier game center, a block down. But Trish preferred to weave through the small labyrinth of carnival like stalls, dodging people clutching stuffed animals of questionable integrity. There, amidst the ancient consoles, flashing lights in hopes of a player, she could be alone. She had beaten all the games except for one. When she looked up again, the ghost appeared, the height of an 8-year-old, sand-streaked hair with a sagging bow of seaweed, a fluffy white dress that was more tears than fabric, the rest of her blurred in a way that was hard to see next to Mortal Kombat. The ghost's mouth moved silently, a slash darker than the sea at night. The ghost pointed at the floor and then the ceiling. Trish snatched her coin cup and ran all the way to the vacation rental several blocks away. It was a freaking ghost. Trish lifted a hand to show her parents, this tall, standing right there. Her mom's eyes narrowed, her irritation at Trish's antics eclipsing the pain that had settled there since the funeral. You're spending too much time alone again. Go find some friends, her mom said. Trish wandered the boardwalk through the throngs of burnt shoulders, scanning her phone for any accounts of ghost stories on the boardwalk or of tragedies. She bookmarked one story about a foster girl who had hid on the boardwalk during a hurricane. Her body was never found. Sad, Trish said, studying the black and white photo of wreckage from the boardwalk collapse. Curiosity got the better of her, but the old arcade was silent except for the machine's beeps. After she checked every corner for shadows, she started to play again. Her tokens dwindled in their plastic cup, and when she looked up from the pixelated X-Men, the ghost was standing next to her, its eyes gleaming the palest blue like a shell bleached too long in the sun. The girl's mouth gaped open like a fish. Are you, Trish said, trying to be brave? The mournful yearning in the ghost's eyes reminded her of her younger brother before he died, after his cells rebelled in destructive protest. Are you sad? Trish asked. The ghost pointed at something on the floor, a long extension cable. Trish's eyes followed the ghost's gesture up toward the ceiling fan. Trish bent down to grip the brown cable and shuddered, picturing a homemade noose. What, you want me to join you? She asked. One of the games blared to life next to her, as if somebody was playing, agreeing. I get it, Trish said. We could play video games forever, not be bothered by anyone. It was tempting to not have to face another school year, the pitying looks of her teachers, the whispers of her classmates, her parents. They were so burdened already. Maybe it would be easier for them if Trish wasn't around. They could have a fresh start. A kid squealed outside, and Trish thought for a second it might be her brother, clutching one of the cheap stuffed lions from a boardwalk game she had won last year. But he's gone. She wiped the wetness from her cheeks. I get you're lonely, Trish whispered. I am too, but I can't stay here. She gestured to the games. I have to move on. The ghost watched her as she backed up and out of the dingy arcade. Outside, she sucked in a lungful of sea breeze threaded with vinegar and popcorn. She walked toward the new game center a block away, her step a little lighter. The end.
Wow. Okay. So I loved that. You have a really rich imagery in your writing. I feel like I really loved all the different descriptions that you gave for everything in that. Even like the uh, bleached tortoise shell eyes, I think it was.
Oh,
Um, yeah, wow, that was really phenomenal. And I feel like the short stories especially they're just so much harder to make an impactful story in such a concise amount of words. So yeah, what are some of your tips for writing more kind of like this?
yeah. So I love short stories. I write novels as well, but short stories are really great for a lot of reasons, right? They can be a palate cleanser for writers and readers. They can be a good way to discover new authors. For authors, they're a great way to reach new audiences, to experiment. For this one, actually, I started it at 100 words, the story, and then tried it at 1,000 words, and then settled on 600 words. So it was an interesting experiment to see like where the sweet spot was. And in trying those different lengths, I was really trimming the fat, focusing on what descriptions were most impactful. And
Mhm.
also, it wasn't until the third draft where her brother's death kind of bubbled up. The first few drafts did not have that. And when that inspiration hit, that really kind of solidified the story and its length.
Yeah. Okay. So when it was like 100 words, I mean that had to have been a substantially different story, I feel like. Or
Yeah,
so
it was more descriptive for sure.
gotcha. So along the way, what were some of the things that helped you kind of learn about these characters? And, like you said, the brother's death kind of bubbled up on like your third rewrite. Uh, is it just the act of rewriting it that helps you kind of learn about them and think more intensely through it?
A little bit, yeah. So initially, I love like the boardwalk, kind of ocean setting. And I imagine this girl who saw ghosts in the arcade, right? And then drafting it, it's like, well, why is the ghost revealing itself to her, right? Which is always a question in any ghost story. Like, why is the ghost revealing themselves now and to this
Right.
person? So that sort of started it. Also, why is Trish alone in this old arcade? Why is nobody else around? So those sorts of initial questions kind of seeded the mystery of it, which did not come to light until like the third revision. The very first draft was really just describing the moment, describing seeing the ghost, right? But there wasn't a lot more
Mhm.
there. So, and that's why it kind of goes back to writing short stories. They can be really powerful exercises and keep you very focused, both as a reader and a writer.
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically when you're kind of writing through it, are there just points where you stop and you like think about something and you're like, okay, this is something I need to question and ask why? And kind of just asking why is what helps you kind of flesh it out a bit more in detail.
Yeah, it's almost like as a writer, you're a little bit of a detective of your own mind,
Right.
right? Like,
Hmm.
why did I write this character? Why does she seem so lonely and withdrawn? So, and in writing any length, right, that process is kind of the fun part of writing to discover these characters and build them out. Um, and yeah, it also, as far as description goes, really helps focus like what am I describing and why. And a lot of the descriptions, there's a contrast between like the rotting driftwood, the old games, right? Her interior mindset versus the sunny outside, the people having fun. So I used that contrast as well to help mark her moment of clarity when she decides to try to move on from her grief.
That's great. Yeah. Have you written any longer fiction as well, or mostly short story? Yeah, you have done longer as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, for sure. I have two novels out, and they're weird westerns, so kind of supernatural western stories with monsters and monster hunting, kind of in the vein of Buffy or Supernatural. And those are full novels, but I've written dozens and dozens of short stories as well that have been in magazines, anthologies, podcasts. I do game writing as well, which is like shorter, kind of different creative
Mhm.
writing. So I like all lengths, and they each have their own challenges, but I think as a writer, it's really helpful and creatively interesting to jump into those different lengths.
That's great. Well, Casey, thank you so much. We're running out of time here, but what's one really quick message that you would like to leave with all of our viewers today?
Yeah, I would say if you enjoy card games, I have a new card game coming out based on my Western series. It's called Monster Gunslingers, and it's a
Okay.
take on Texas Hold'em, and it features character art on the cards, and it's launching soon. So that's kind of new and exciting for me as a writer. And you can learn more on my website.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much, Casey.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Casey. That is awesome. I love cards, so I am definitely going to check that out. Up next, we have a veteran returning, someone who has been with us several times. I'm very excited to have him on yet again. I'm talking, of course, about Russell Little. Hey, Russ, how are you?
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Russell Little, of course, is a practicing attorney and the author of Murder for Me. He's joining us today to talk about developing sinister villains in his psycho murder thrillers using characters he's created as specific examples. Really excited to get to talk with you again. Russ, tell us some about some of your characters that you've created.
Well, in the next book, Murder by Storm, that has been out, I actually, the antagonist in the book is Marilyn. And Marilyn has been with me in my mind for more than a decade now. In fact,
Mhm.
when I first started writing the first draft of this book, I had her name some other name. And actually, she came to me. I know this sounds weird. She actually came to me in my sleep and grabbed me by the throat and said, "That's not my name. My name is Marilyn." So when I woke up the next morning, I told my wife, Marilyn came to me in my dream. And she's like, "Who the hell's Marilyn? Why are you dreaming about some other woman?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. That's the character in my book. That's the one that can never be caught." I got to tell you though, uh, what I've learned in writing is a couple of things about writing about one of these characters. And that is, if you're going to really make the reader enjoy the book, they have to identify with the evil.
Mhm.
They have to understand and have a understand uh, Marilyn and what she's doing and why she's doing it, and be able to say, "Okay, I get it. I get why she's doing it." That
Mhm.
that really ramps up the tension, and it also helps to put it in the middle of a hurricane.
So, how do you get to know these characters, or kind of get to understand the reason that they're acting the way that they are?
Well, and that's what I did in Murder by Storm, okay? Because that was
Mhm.
one of the things that readers from the first book wanted to know. Well, why does she do what she does, and how does she do it? And I wanted to, I had to write from a woman's perspective. I had to write from Marilyn's perspective, so you could see the life she had and why she had it, so you could understand it. And by the end, I think that you do. You get it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. So, do you do you kind of like research, like if you're specifically talking about like sinister villains, do you research people that have kind of been sinister villains in
No,
history,
this is
or?
my life. I've lived in this dark world for the last 40 years practicing law. I've
Mm,
known people. You go through life and you have come across characters in your life that are completely different than everybody else. And you don't forget
mm.
those people. And when I don't forget those people, I write about those people. And a
Gotcha.
few of those people have been these people that
Mm,
uh, I fictionalized and wrote about. Uh, so I've gotten these characters from the life I've lived, from the trials that I've been hired to try before juries.
hmm
And uh, I actually remember the first time I met one of these people was in a federal prison. And they brought me in. It was a secret prison uh, in downtown Houston. And while I was waiting on them, they told me they had to go get the person out of yoga because they were in a yoga class.
hmm
And we were meeting at the same time as someone that caused a very famous person that caused much, much more harm than my client was in the next room with all 10 of their lawyers.
mm.
So that's the world that I've practiced law in the last 40 years. And that's where I've gotten the ideas for the characters.
Yeah. So what law specifically were you practicing? Was it I'm guessing criminal in
It
some
was
way.
criminal and it was family law because when you're uh, uh, when you're in federal prison or you have federal charges, you have a lot of family issues too. So I was sometimes I was hired as the criminal lawyer in the case. Sometimes I was hired as because there would be child custody battles in the
Mm,
middle of those because separated partners would come back and try to get the children and off they'd go too. So there's
hmm
always battles.
Yeah. So kind of talk us through one of your characters and kind of the evolution that you went through in creating them.
Okay, this is great. So I'm going to talk about the detective uh, in the Detective Sims in the case. I
Hmm
got this idea from someone as far as the character. They gave me the idea by their existence. And whenever you create a lot of tension in a book, you have to also create humor so the reader can relax a little bit.
hmm
Uh, so I always create. I create as I wrote about this character. There's certain things, bizarre things that I would put into the character that both defines who he is and tells more story than the words. Like uh, Sims has a mustache that doesn't move with the rest of his face. It's the strangest thing. It's like an independent caterpillar. His
uh-huh.
mouth is moving, his face is moving. The mustache moves differently. I've actually seen this before. When you meet someone with a mustache like this, you can't get your eyes off of it. It's weird. Sims has
Yeah.
this. And I've,
Yeah.
I've had so many readers talk about that. Or the fact that he wears black cowboy boots all the time. That's actually a
Mhm.
thing in Houston. There's a whole uh, subset of men that wear cowboy boots all the time. You don't see that anywhere else. When I moved to
Yeah.
Georgia, I had to put my cowboy boots up because that's a
Well,
strange thing.
I lived in Nashville, and you see it a lot, but only with the tourists, not with the people that
Only
actually
with
live
the bachelorettes, and they're all
there.
white, that white
Yeah.
plastic cowboy boots. They're not real
Yeah.
cowboy boots, they're
Yeah.
fake. They drove me crazy. White cowboy boots everywhere in Nashville. It's crazy, isn't
Mhm.
it? You
Yeah.
must be a musician if you lived in Nashville.
Oh, no, I was born without rhythm.
Uh,
So
as
I
I
can't actually
was.
do it. Yeah. Um, so this detective is based on somebody from your past, or?
Right. In fact, he's one of my best friends, but he's he's so memorable. You got to include him. Like he's a
Mm.
know-it-all, and he's mostly right about everything. Or and the fact is, in this my books, he's always a step behind Marilyn. She's always
Mm.
ahead of him because that's the way psychopaths are until they're not.
Mhm.
And here's another thing. Here's kind of a comical secret from my books that I
Mm.
don't really talk about, but it's true. And that's Sims all gets shot in every book. That's a thing.
Mhm.
Somehow he gets shot in every book. And it gets to be comical after a while. You're like, how can it be comical that you get shot? Well, that's something you write about, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So, how did you well, actually, here's a question I wanna ask because 'cause we're running up on time, and I'm really curious. Have you had anybody that you've based a character on that's reached out to you after one of your books and been like, "Hey, man, come on." What?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had several people think that I've written about them and that none of them like it. You know, those stupid t shirts that you see advertised to authors, and probably you, because you're a podcaster on Facebook, saying, I'm an author, don't make me mad or I'll write about you. Well, everybody thinks that you do that. But I don't write about people I'm mad at. I write about people that are fascinating or have interesting characteristics that I want to write about, right?
Mhm.
But I have actually had people reach out angry at what I've written. I've also had lawyers and other people complain about the people I kill in my books. They don't like it. Why do you have to kill a lawyer? Why do you have to kill the? I kill a lot of people in my books. That's kind of what the books are about. Is
Yeah.
is the chessboard of trying to catch a killer.
Yeah. Well, that thank you so much for taking us through your process a little bit on that, Russell. We're running up on time, but is there a last thought that you wanna leave with everyone that's watching today?
I know this is weird because of what we've talked about, but you know, uh, Halloween is a holiday. Go spend it with some people you love.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much, Russell. Have a good one.
Have a great day.
All right. Another great conversation. I always love having Russell on. I think that was maybe the third time that I've gotten to have a conversation with him on air. So that was cool. Uh, okay, moving right along though. Up next, we've got Debra. Debra Eckerling is an award winning podcaster and author of 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. She is going to give us tips for making goals less scary, along with secrets for networking and productivity for writers. How are you, Debra?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, aside from having trouble getting your title right on the book there. um, uh,
It might be the knife through your head.
it's probably that. Yeah, it's probably that. um, Uh, so, Deb, I want to talk about your book. I'm really excited about your topic. When we mentioned that it was going to be around Halloween, you brought up the idea of making goals less scary, and I thought that was so good. So, yeah, take us through some of your tips.
Well, but that is the thing. People think of goal as a 4-letter word. And it is a 4-letter word, but it's the good kind, right? I feel like goals, they have power. When you know who you are, what you're working towards, it's almost like having the best secret, especially when let's say you don't love your job, but you're a writer and you love what you're working on. Your writer goals, that is the energy that's going to get you through the icky other things that maybe you love less. So embracing goals, embracing creating the life you want, that is like the opposite of scary. It's like scary good, right? So
Mhm.
I feel, and so I created the DEB method, which is my system for goal setting simplified. And it's all about setting the foundation for your goals. So DEB stands for determine your mission, because you can't get what you want unless you know what that is. Explore your options. That's the research phase when you're thinking, okay, I want this life. What do I need to do to get there? And then brainstorm your path is putting everything out there, personal goals, professional goals, long-term, short-term, writing everything out, dividing, conquering, and making a plan. And I'm all about goal setting simplified. because changing your life is challenging enough. I made the instructions really, really easy.
I love that. Okay, so can you give us a couple of those instructions, a little taste of or wait, I think that you had mentioned
Oh, we're gonna
maybe
do my
having
parlor trick. It's trick or treat
yeah.
season.
Yeah.
So, so my book that came out in January 2020 is Your Goal Guide: A Roadmap for Setting, Planning, and Achieving Your Goals. It was the L1 Say Hello award-winning book. So 6 weeks before the world had changed by circumstance, out came my book to help people embrace change by choice or by circumstance. And your goal guide, the first half goes through the Deb method, and then the second half is strategies for success. And one of the things that came out of the pandemic was goal chat. So I was doing a Twitter chat at the time. I sunsetted that a couple years ago, but my publisher said, have you thought about doing a live show? So this is March 2020 when we're all trying to figure out ways to connect. And so I started doing goal chat, which was I just think it's funny because the first 2 episodes were me just talking. They last like 15 minutes and then 12 minutes. And then I started doing interviews, and it eventually evolved into a panel show. So what I do now is every week I bring together 3 guests, and unless it's on purpose, they don't know each other. So I love the whole idea of bringing together people from your community on a topic. So 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting is basically that in book form. Some of the people know each other, some of them don't. I actually know all the people who I interviewed for the book. And even though it's 52 Secrets, there's 60 people, achievers who I interviewed in business, technology, food, entertainment, creative fields. Of course, there are authors in here. And what I have found is when someone picks up a book, they're buying a book, or I hand them a book, I say, turn to a page in the book and see what message the book has for you. And it is eerie. See what I did there? How accurate this is. And the other thing, before we play this game with you, James, so the book is divided so I did these interviews, and the book is divided into 7 sections. So we start with focus, well-being, action, networking, communication, productivity, and leadership and teamwork. And I interviewed, like I said, I know all the people. They were either people who I've interviewed, people I was friends with, or people who said, oh, you need to interview this person for your book. I want to know how they do that. So it's fun. But the bottom line is the secret to success is there is no one secret. But what you can do is see what other people do and pick and choose your own adventure and find what works for you.
Yeah, I love that. All right, let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to thumb through it and you just say stop.
Stop.
You are going to love this. Okay, it's commit to conversations. And
Oh,
what
that's
are we
perfect.
doing here? Is having a conversation.
That's awesome.
And for this tip, I interviewed Larry Levine, and he wrote a book called Selling from the Heart. He's got the Selling from the Heart podcast. And he's actually the reason I have Guy Kawasaki as the afterword in the book. It was just in my mind that he would be perfect for the afterword. And he had just interviewed Guy Kawasaki, and I had met him through another friend. Brent Tillman said, oh, you need to interview Larry Levine. And Larry, I see you just interviewed Guy Kawasaki. And he did an intro, and Guy responded within the day. And we got him into the book. But what Larry says is, you want to expand your network, you need to be talking to people constantly, which is something I say all the time. You can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. And so in his methodology, he talks about the 3 different conversations you have every day. Someone you know, we want to get this. I want to get it right. I don't want to misquote him. Every day I strive to...
Let me go ahead and spotlight you, and you can do a little reading from it.
Okay, well, emphasize the word little. Every day I strive to make 1 new connection, drive 1 new conversation, and I have 1 conversation with someone inside my customer base. So maybe someone you don't know as well, but is someone who's already, part of like in an ancillary part of your tribe. But the point is, set goals for networking. Put in your calendar. And so my modification of this is have 5 even if you've got 1 conversation every day, so 5 a week. I know he says you should be doing 15, so do anywhere between 5 and 15. But the idea is, maybe Monday you get all your conversations out of the way, or you do it over a couple of days of the week. Apparently there are people who don't love networking. I am not one of those people. One of the things that I say is every week, try to schedule 3 different opportunities for networking. So do 1 mixer type situation, 1 education, and then 1 one-on-one with someone who you met somewhere else. And it could be on the phone, it could be on Zoom. But the idea is, because we've got this wonderful technology that, one of the blessings of the pandemic is that it's natural for everybody to connect with other people, right? Via technology. You don't have, it's great to go places in person, but you can easily do 3 networking events without leaving the comfort of your home. And everybody can do 3 a week. And here's the cheat. If you don't love networking, do it 3 weeks in a row and then reward yourself by taking a week off. So they're always what you have to figure out. And that's true with goals as well. Figure out what works for you, do more of that, and stop doing the things that don't work.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm a pretty introverted guy. So I love the idea of being like, I'm gonna have a day where I have conversations. And then that's the only day that I have my conversations, and I'll have all of them then. Um, but no, I think that that's a really good tip. I've never really enjoyed networking per se. So I feel like I like the idea of sort of goalifying it and making it more that way.
You want to hear something really funny? I'm the opposite. So I do Zoom Free Friday every week, and it's not always on Friday, but I pick 1 day a week not to talk to people.
Oh, okay. I love that. Yeah. Deb, we're running out of time here. Is there a final message that you would like to leave with all of our listeners and watchers today?
I would say goals are your friend. I know that sounds really hokey, but optimist.
No, I love that. Yeah.
It's very on brand thing for me to say. Think of goals as it's a gift you give to yourself. And what I am going to challenge everybody who's tuning into is, don't think of it as a goal. Think of what win do you want to be celebrating by the end of the year. You've got a little over 2 months now. I start the new year in December. That's a whole nother conversation. But you've got more than 2 months left in the calendar year. Choose 1 win, 1 thing that you are going to be celebrating by the end of the year. And then you use that energy to set and that motivation to set goals and help you move forward on your path.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you so much, Deb, and have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Goals are your friend. I love that. I need to get better at making goals. So that was a good talk. Good reminder. All right, we are moving along here. Up next, we've got Kim Watson. Let me go ahead and bring you on stage, Kim.
Hey.
Kim is an award-winning author and filmmaker, and author of the book Trespass, who's going to read excerpts and intimate experiences of documenting the unhoused in Los Angeles, and going to talk about the role of art as a catalyst for change. So excited to get to talk with you, Kim. This is, yeah, I think we've already connected about this, but this is an issue that's also very close to my heart. So, yeah, you had a reading that you wanted to start us off with today?
Yes, and thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, so this is called Liana, and the book is filled with stories and my photographs and my stories about the people I encountered. And Liana was one of those special people. So here I go. With her curved spine bent over the shopping cart, Liana spoke of stray cats, assaults, and her appearance in a Robert Downey Jr. film 30 years earlier. Her distant past feels like yesterday, and today is no guarantee for tomorrow. So Liana lives day to day, memory to memory. I eased alongside her and fell into step, syncing my pace to hers. I guess Liana must be 70 to 75 years old, but somehow at 4'8", with a hunchback and bad feet, she managed to push a cart 4 times her weight. Where does she get the strength? I love cats, she confessed. I take care of them and feed them, she said. In her words, I recognized a generosity that I do not know if I would possess if I were in her shoes. But then again, I'd been given someone's last slice of pizza when they had no idea where their next meal was coming from. I've been offered the coat off someone's back when they thought I might be cold. I've witnessed those who have nothing offer their last. And I understood Liana's joy in caring for a dozen feral cats who relied on her. Don't we all want to feel useful? Yeah, Liana danced from one topic to the next, leaving little room for me to respond. But that was all right with me. My silence was all that she needed.
I love that. I love anytime someone can paint an honest portrait of unhoused life that's not just like shame and just kind of like, glorifying poverty in a sense with some of it too. I think that's such a true story. I've done some work with Nashville's population of unhoused people, and uh, eh, I always tell people one of the things that's so remarkable is like it takes an incredible amount of ingenuity, like
That's right.
just to be able to survive. Like I always say, like if I lost everything tomorrow, I wouldn't survive. Like it's incredibly like hard to even be able to do that. And then the other thing is, like you said, like people will give the shirt off their back if they think that you need it more,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't even ask for proof or reasoning. They just, if you tell them you need it more, they'll give it to you.
There's so much generosity.
Hmm.
There are so many big brains and creative
Hmm.
people. And folks, the full title of the book is Trespass: Portraits of Unhoused Life, Love, and Understanding. And that kind of shows you
Hmm.
what my approach was with this.
Yeah.
I wanted to present the people I know and had come to know over 5 years and even longer, um, uh, in a way that's loving, in a way that's respectful and dignified.
Mm.
And I've been told that that was accomplished. I hope that's true.
I mean, just judging from that excerpt, I'm sure that it was. No, that was a really great story. I love that. And whenever you're able to honestly approach somebody who's in that kind of living situation
Mhm.
where they are so severely marginalized from society, and whenever you're able to approach them with an open mind and open heart and just want to hear their story,
Yeah.
I've just met so many people that are just so thrilled to like talk to me because I'm genuinely interested in what they have to say.
You, well, you look them in the eye, you acknowledge them, and
Mhm.
they can feel the love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of people kind of try to avert their gaze a lot of times from the unhoused, and so they're
Yeah.
always so thankful and respectful when someone doesn't. I feel like.
A simple hello, just
Hmm.
being seen and letting yourself see them. Uh,
Yeah.
that is one of the big goals of the book, is to instill in us this concept of doing the small things. Everybody's not going to write a book. The documentary is coming out next year. Uh, everybody's not going to do that. And
Mm.
that doesn't need to be done by everyone, but we can all do something small, a little bit of something. And as a
Yeah.
community, as a national community, a world community, we can have great impact.
Absolutely. Tell
Yeah.
tell us about the creation of this project and some of the logistics of what you went through just to find subjects for the book and for the film and gain
Mhm.
that trust, get that foot in the door.
You know, we've, out of my house, we've served over 3,000 meals
Oh,
in
okay.
the last couple of years, just out of our kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'll
Yeah.
load up the car and drive through the neighborhood with my wife and my son or by myself. And when the pandemic hit, I decided that, as a filmmaker, at the time I was consulting with PBS, but I decided I'm going to go pick up my camera again, hit the streets, start the writing, and with no intention of a book or a film. It was really to inform our friends and neighbors and community about what's happening on the street. And many of these folks I knew before, and many, many more I came to know. And so 4 or 5 times a week, I would go out with food, and relationships began, and I got to know folk. And maybe it's because I'm from New York, but I'm not afraid of anybody.
Yeah.
So I just opened my heart up, and they opened their hearts up, and we got to know each other. And only once, because I had everyone's permission, only once did someone say, no, thank you. So I have hundreds and hundreds of interviews with people, and many of these relationships continue to this day.
Yeah. No, I love that because you demonstrated your heart for the situation before taking on the project. So it wasn't like, hey, I'm trying to do this thing, like, trust me. You had documented proof that you were fighting for making things better. And I think that that's really cool that you got to kind of take another step in that
Yeah.
with this project. Like I old friend and mentor of mine who sadly has passed, she used to tell me, well, she would tell me two things that always really stuck with me. The first was anybody that's on the streets has between 3 to 5 people that they will never screw over no matter what. And it's her job to be one of them. And I always really loved that. She would like let people sit in her car and stuff like that while she wasn't around, and like leave her phone on the, she didn't care, because the other thing she would say is nobody feels the need to steal from an open hand. Like,
Yes.
they're helping, they don't feel the need to take from you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that. Just kind of getting to be a part of the solution instead of just being upset about the problem, basically.
Well, I feel that I got much more out of this than they did.
Yeah.
I mean, the love that I received from them, and the caring, and the relationship itself just means so much to me. And I just am honored that they let me in.
Yeah.
And continue to do so.
You said the documentary is coming out next year.
Yeah. Yes.
Where's it going to be? Do
you
know yet?
My producers have deals with the streamers, so
Yeah.
we're wrapping up all the post-production. I scored it with my collaborator, my musical collaborator, and so that was wonderful to do.
Yeah.
I started as a musician and then segued into film, and so that was a wonderful return to my roots. And so we're looking at next year. We're very
That's
confident.
Awesome.
We premiere in November at the Teaneck International Film Festival, and it's one of their featured films. So I'm honored about that.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for it. We're coming up on time. Is there a final message that you would like to leave with our listeners and viewers?
Yeah. Speaking of all the little things we can do, if it's 90 degrees out, like it is here in LA right now, take a couple bottles of water, throw them in the freezer. And then when you're driving around, hand one off, say hello, give a bottle of water to somebody sitting in the street, and watch the love you receive. And you'll want to do it over and over.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate that. That was a great message to leave us with. And just,
my pleasure.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
You too. Oh, amazing. All right. Great talk. Appreciate Kem, and definitely looking forward to that documentary coming out. Also, just as a reminder, before we go on to our next guest, we do have giveaways going on. So feel free, please go and join those giveaways. We've got a lot of books and other goodies to give you. So make sure that you don't forget about that. All right. And up next, we've got Ellwyn Autumn. Hello, Ellwyn. I love
Hi.
the background off
Thank
the
you.
just off the jump.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Ellwyn Autumn is the award-winning author of the Kamyla Chung series. She's here to discuss how children's books offer a doorway into new worlds and how book bans attempt to erase that progress in history. Thank you so much for joining us, Ellwyn. And yeah,
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you coming on to talk about this. Just tell us a little bit more about where your head's at with that.
Well, I know that this was a Halloween themed recording, so DEI is very important to me because I taught for close to 25 years, and I taught a broad range of children. And when I found out that I was coming on, I wrote a poem that would hopefully be a good segue. It's about Halloween and diversity, and it's only going to be about a minute or so.
Yeah,
So it's
let me go ahead
called,
and spotlight you.
okay, it's called Halloween Costumes. What if we all wore the same costume? How boring would that be? The same old spooky fashion as far as the eye can see. What if we all dressed as a ghost, a vampire, a monster, or bat? Could we really be considered special? A unique, super cool cat? How would our parents find us in a sea where we're all the same? How would we get our candy if we all had the same costume name? The colors would blend together, morph into a monotony of clones. We'd all be so confused, a mass of disorderly drones. Sorry, the page is stuck. Okay. Halloween would lose the excitement, the creative flair that makes it fun. We would all look exactly alike and be lost one by one. Halloween costumes express freedom to be exactly who we are, a person who thinks and feels, a bright and shining star. The end.
I love that.
Thank you.
So this is your poem, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I don't
That's
know
okay.
why I didn't know that already. So yeah, tell us a bit more about this poem. First of all, I love the line about how if we all had the same costume, we couldn't all get candy, because it's like a play on the change your costume to get candy twice thing.
Right. Yeah, right.
So I love that. But yeah, just tell us a little bit more about its creation and what your goal was when you were making it.
Well, because this conversation is about diversity in children's books, and it's very important to me, I'm a part of a catalog called the Catalog of Diverse Children's Books. Tom Tracy Jr. put it together. When we were putting it together, it really came to me that, like, I need to come up with something that just ties everything together. So when I reached out to you guys and you agreed to have me on, and like I said, the Halloween theme, I thought, well, diversity, Halloween is a perfect example of diversity, because when we dress up in costume, we all want to look different. We don't all want to look the same.
Yeah.
So I thought a great message for kids is this will show how our differences make us unique, and how Halloween is inclusive. So it's kind of bringing everything together. So that's where my head was when I wrote the poem.
Yeah. No, I love that. So,
Thank you.
Are you currently teaching still?
No, I'm retired now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm very excited for you, because I know it's gotten very difficult to teach with everything going on. So,
Right.
how long ago did you retire?
2 years.
2 years ago? Okay, gotcha. So yeah, You know very well.
Yes,
Yeah.
unfortunately, yeah.
So how did you kind of make that transition to writing after teaching, or were you writing while teaching as well?
Oh, I was writing and teaching for a long time. I started creating stories when I was like in second grade. So
Mhm.
writing's just always been a part of me.
Yeah. And has diversity been a big theme in them for in your stories for a while?
That actually didn't start. I didn't become aware of it until I started teaching in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Um, we were always asked to have a different range of books in our classroom libraries, and I noticed that there wasn't a lot of biracial representation. So
Mhm.
that's why I came up with the Kamyla Chung series. I actually
Yeah.
got the name Kamyla from one of the kindergarten children that I taught. I
Oh, I
asked
love
her,
that.
yeah, I asked her, can I use your first name in my book? And so, yes, but of course, the last name is different, but that
Yeah.
was that was really fun being able
No, that's
to
really
use
cool.
one of my students. Yeah.
I bet that she was, like, thrilled
She
to
was,
have
and, yeah,
that.
unfortunately, I was able to get it all finished before she left me in
Yeah.
kindergarten, so I got to read it to her and,
Oh, that's cool.
give her a copy of the book. Yeah, it was a
Oh,
nice feeling.
yeah. Um, so the Kamila Chung series, how many books are in that one?
There's 2 storybooks, and there's also, a kindergarten activity book. Because Kamila is a kindergarten student, I thought I should make a kindergarten activity book to go along with the series. There is a 3rd story written. It's just, getting the illustrator, you know, I have to save a little bit of money before I can get the 3rd
I
book
hear.
into print.
Yeah, that's cool. So, talk us through Kamila Chung a bit and sort of the lessons that you get to visit through her eyes.
Well, in Kamyla Chung and the Creepy Crawlies, it focuses on her fear of the dark. And so it's about children advocating for themselves, problem solving. Because at the beginning, she sees shadows on her wall. And
Mhm.
her teacher reads a book and talks about how rabbit's feet bring good luck. So she sleeps that night with her fluffy bunny, and the shadows don't go away. So then her parents hire an exterminator to get rid of the creepy crawly. So the exterminator comes and really includes Kamyla in the problem solving process. And in the end, they figure out where the shadows are coming from. And then at the end, of course, Kamyla addresses another fear that she has, a monster under her bed. I try to end each of those books with a question so that can keep the reader maybe at the end just being like, oh yeah, okay, so how would you get rid of a monster? And
Mhm.
then Kamyla Chung and the Classroom Bully is kind of a heavy topic. It actually was inspired by 2 children that I taught. So it addresses bullying, but it also gets to the one source of how bullying can occur, which one of the other characters in the book is suffering from abuse.
Mhm.
So that's how that story came about. I also have talking points as a companion, so that if parents or educators wanted to read the book, the questions and the resources in the companion make reading the book a little easier.
I love that. No, that's great. And I love that you're kind of just making it as accessible as possible. Like even having like the kindergarten workbook along with it, like trying to make it open and available to kids as young as you can get them, basically. Which I think is so important because, like you said, there's very little representation of characters that aren't white in children's literature, and thankfully, we're starting to see a lot more options for that. But I know that it's, still got a ways to go to catch up, so yeah.
And with the book banning that's going on,
Yeah,
a lot of that progress that was made is sort of going backward, which is a
yeah,
little heartbreaking because children need to see themselves in books. It helps
mhm,
develop self-confidence, and not just for the children of color. White children need to see
mhm,
children of color and disabled people in books because it helps them understand that there are these people in the world, and we're all in this world together. So we need to normalize. Like I have a book called Gingerbread Kids Hide and Seek, and in it I have every culture that I could include in the book. And it doesn't even address that in the book. It doesn't say, oh, there's a Jewish child, there's a Muslim child. It just says, oh, this is a classroom of kids and they have to solve a mystery. So it's just to normalize, like, we're all here.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. That's a great point, and I appreciate you coming on and talking more about that. We're bumping up on time here, but tell us, do you have a final message that you'd like to leave with our viewers?
If you are as passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion in books as I am, just go out and purchase them. It's as simple as that. Or you can go to the library and check out books, because the more books that are in circulation, the more funding they get for what they can order. And if you really want to help self-published authors who are trying to get the message out about diversity in children's books, there's like I mentioned earlier, the catalog of diverse books by Tom Tracy. So you could just go to ellwynautumn.com, and on my website, you can just click on the author resource tab, and underneath you'll find the diversity of children's books, and you'll find a link to a free PDF, and we can all work together to promote diversity in children's books.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ellwyn. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
All right, Ellwyn, thank you for that important conversation. Book bans are obviously such an important topic, and that's why the BookFest thankfully partners with Unite Against Book Bans. Definitely a huge part of focus for us, and should be, honestly, for anyone that's interested in the world of authors. We're going to go ahead and keep this party rolling. Up next, we are going to be talking with Mireya. Let me go ahead and bring you on stage. Now, Mireya DeYoung. Hi there. Mireya DeYoung is the author of Somewhere to Hide. She's going to discuss the importance of taking on interesting and challenging conversations with her children through her writing, including her book on lockdown drills. How are you doing today, Mireya?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, thanks so much for having a conversation with us today. Tell us a little bit about how writing helps you process these kinds of difficult and tough conversations that you have to have.
Yeah. Well, I think in order for you to be able to understand how I did this, I want to be able to make sure that people understand how I started it. One of the things that helped me start everything was my first book, which is Come With Me, Papa. And it was all because my father ended up getting Lewy body's dementia, and which is a Parkinson's and dementia put together. And so I was trying to be able to explain that to my children. And there was no books that I would find that would actually come out and just talk about Alzheimer's and dementia. So, and be able to explain it in a way that children could actually understand. So I decided to go ahead and start writing these books, and so that my children could be able to understand what was going on in the day-to-day lives that nobody was talking about. And so I started with Come With Me, Papa, which was about Alzheimer's and dementia. And then my children went off to kindergarten, and we got an email saying that we needed to do a lockdown drill and everything. And so me and my husband, we thought that we were going to be perfectly fine. And, we had this in the bag. We've read about it. We were older parents, so we didn't really know the process of it all, but we got the idea. So our kids went ahead. They went to school. They had their lockdown drill. They come home, and we sat down. We asked them how it went, and we were perfectly fine, answering any questions that they had, and we were ready for it. And it was crickets, and nobody asked anything. And my kids just brushed it off like it was a normal thing and everybody was okay. And I'm like, okay, well, this was anticlimactic. So we went
Yeah.
ahead and decided that we would just go ahead and let them process everything, and we'll take a look at them later. And it wasn't until about 2 days later that my son came home and he asked if he can go shopping. And I said, for what? And he goes, well, I need to go get camouflage in case the bad guys come in to the school.
Oh,
And
that's so sad.
yeah. And at that point, I said, okay, I need to do a lockdown drill book so that parents can understand how the process works, and also how, the typical questions that come up every day for those kids.
Mm.
And so I decided to go ahead and do that. And I worked with teachers and principals across the nation to be able to understand exactly how their processes work and what are they doing and how are they explaining it. And it took me about a year to really get everything down. And
Wow.
I wanted to make sure that all the illustrations and everything was set up so that the kids can understand it and they wouldn't also be afraid to go to school, because that was a big thing for me as well, was being able
Mhm.
to balance that. So not only the information, but also that the kid is not afraid of anything going on.
Yeah. No, I think that's wonderful. So along that route, like obviously your kids helped you kind of come up with the inspiration for what you were going to write about, but did you involve them in the creation of it as well at all? Or like
Did.
were there turning points where you're like, hey, what do you think about this or whatever?
Yeah, so every book that I've ever written, I do not release to anybody until I've had my kids read it.
Love that.
And I'm a firm believer that children are going to understand what's going on around them. And so regardless as parents, if we want to have this conversation or not, they're going to hear about it regardless.
Mhm.
So what I've always done is, when we're doing our normal reading time, I sit down and I say, hey, mommy wrote a new book. And I show them the books and I explain to them what they are. And I get my feelers out to see, okay, is this too scary? Is this not too scary? Is this resonating with them? Is this something that's understandable? Or the picture is okay? So there's all these little details that I have to put into consideration while reading the book to them. And then once they're done reading it and they give me their advice, which is amazing, by the way, because I've done a lot of little tweaks and things based off of my children's input. Then I go to a group of friends who have their children that are all the similar age. I read my books to them, and then they kind of give me another gauge, and then I figure it out, and then I move forward from there. But yes, my children are 100% involved in my process.
Yeah, they're your focus group, right?
For sure.
Yeah. No, I love that. So are these the only two books that you've written along those lines where it's about kind of having these conversations?
No, I'm actually also releasing this book. Sorry, I'm kind of messing up my system here. This book, which is called Conversations Start with Color, and it's a coloring book that also has key things that you can ask your children and start a conversation with them, like, what do you think of yourself? Or if you were to start a business, what would it be and how would you build it? Did you do anything brave or kind today? And so what I've done here is I have a hard page, an easy page to color, and then also a conversation starter in between. I have handed that out to many of teachers that love using it because it starts that difficult conversation with them, or it allows them to be able to have a conversation with the kid who is struggling, or that is shy, or is being able to not open up a lot more with the people that they have around them. So I've also noticed that I actually sell that book a lot to people who have been married forever. A lot of older generations, because they want to be able to start little conversations like that again with their spouses, which has been amazing. So I try to pride myself that even though I'm writing children's picture books, people of any age can really enjoy them and understand them and be able to find good information from them.
I love that. So is this something like when you were growing up, do you feel like your parents had like creative ways of having these kinds of conversations for you? Or is this like a light bulb moment where you were like, you know what, I think I can tackle this a little bit differently?
To be perfectly honest, I think I come from the age group of avoid. Don't have this conversation. I don't really want to talk to you about this. It's a scary conversation for me. So because of that, I'm just going to avoid it and just let you figure it out by yourself. But we are now, as parents, in a new age, and we need to be able to give our children the facts and the information that we know is true, because there's a lot of information out there that they could just pick up from any particular place that that could be unfactual. And so because of that, we need to be able to have those conversations. And no, I did not have certain conversations with my parents, nor would it ever have come up. I'm very close to my parents, but that was something that we didn't really talk about, those technical issue type of things.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's great though, because it's like saying, let's, instead of avoiding these things, let's wrestle with it actively for a long period of time, a year in your case for the lockdown drills book.
Mhm.
Like that's a long time to wrestle with that kind of conversation instead of avoiding it. So I think that's awesome, and I appreciate you doing that and coming on here to share that with us. What is we're running out of time here, but what's kind of one last message you might like to leave with the people who are watching today?
Yeah, I would say just be open and honest with your kids. They'll understand. And as long as you put things into perspective for them in a way that they can understand it, then you're doing a great job as a parent, and just keep strong. I write my books to be able to help people, and I hope that it does help you. And there's more to come, I promise.
I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mireya. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. We'll see you around.
Bye.
All right. That is so cool. I love that. Creating those kids' books for those difficult conversations. That is a really awesome task. All right. We're going to go ahead and keep things moving. Up next, we've got Shikha. Pull you up here, Shikha. Hi, Shikha. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Shikha Bajaj. Did I pronounce that correctly?
You did.
Okay. Author of the award-winning Own Your Color book, will share how to unlock your boldest self and break fear's curse in 6 magical minutes with the M.E.N.T.O.R formula, not program. I'm so excited to find out about the M.E.N.T.O.R formula, because I am almost never my boldest self. So yeah, tell me a little bit more about the M.E.N.T.O.R formula.
I sure will. But before that, when I say the word own your color, what do you think it is about?
Maybe about how like we're like each person's kind of like a different color in terms of like their personality, and kind of learning how to like own whatever color you are instead of trying to like match into somebody else's. Am I close?
You're 100% right. It's
Oh,
basically
yes. I'm so happy I got that right.
you got 10 on 10. So basically,
Yeah.
your color is knowing who you are, embracing it fully, and then using it to light the way for others. And it's not about the color of your skin or your race or your hair. It's just who you are, all of you. And the reason I ask that is because it's linked to mentor. So I believe that if you have habits, they help you become the best version of yourself. And mentor framework is nothing but a promise to yourself that you will own your color fully unapologetically, authentically every day. So the way it works is give yourself 6 minutes. Mentor stands for M for meditate, E for exercise, N for notate, which is journal, T for thankfulness, the act of thankfulness, O, own, and R, read. And what that really means is, so as you said, the book has won a lot of awards, and BookFest is extremely special to me because I won 3 awards right after the book was launched. And BookFest paved the way for it to win another dozen awards in a year. And the reason is and the reason is because Own Your Color is my way of owning who I am, which is doing something to allow others to be their whole self. I spent a lot of my life trying to fit in, moving from New Delhi to New York, just to blend in, not to be seen. And only when I decided that I'm going to do what makes sense to me, I feel like the world took notice. Yeah. And the way I did that was following mentor framework. So the way it works is give yourself time every day, commit to the mentor framework every day at any point in time. It can be morning, it can be night, but just do it. And the magic about that is if you commit to it, just 6 minutes. If you can take 60, like you'll be unstoppable. Even with 6, you will be unstoppable because it will help you connect with what is it that your definition of success is, not what the noise is around us. And once you know that, you will be able to figure out how to get rid of your limiting beliefs, know what you value, and then have the courage to dream big. So once you have the clarity, you get the courage, and then you commit to actually making your goals true using the mentor framework, the world takes notice. So since that happened to me, this is my way of giving back, enabling everyone else to do that.
No, I love that. I think that's great. I think, no, that's really interesting because I've done the, what's the personality test that the colors are based on?
So this one actually is unique. It's actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
I've done one that was colors before, but it must have been something else.
It must be. But you know what? I let you complete your thought. I have something very exciting to share, but complete your thought.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that it's really interesting. If nothing else, it's just a great starting place for thinking deeper about yourself and kind of like, what meshes with you. Like, I feel like in a lot of those personality tests, like none of them are going to be 100% correct for anyone. And a lot of the time it's just a way to start thinking about like, oh, maybe I do that in like, why did I have like a negative reaction to reading that? Maybe I should work on not doing that as much or work on like owning that or whatever. So I think that's great. Tell me, or well, sorry, because you said that you had
I was
something.
just going to say, I have an exciting news to share, and it's interesting. I was going to leave it for the last, but there must be a reason it's happening now. So I have come up with a quiz, which will actually tell you what color you are. And
oh, awesome.
And what's different about it is it's based off my 25 plus years of working in multiple countries, leading large teams, solving complex problems in the era of like for Fortune 500 companies, different team dynamics, organizational culture. And how it's different is if you've heard of Strengths Finder, it's based on the similar philosophy that focus on your strengths, and it takes less than a minute. It takes 60 seconds to find your color. There are six personality, 6 different colors. I'm just going to share one of these. It's called Trailblazer. So the whole philosophy of Own Your Color is the moment you take the quiz, it's all about you be bold, you be brilliant, and be uniquely you. But how do I know who I am? So the book I wrote actually had a lot of inspiration and activation around how to actually know who you are, right? Like dig deep in, get rid of limiting beliefs, find values, et cetera, et cetera. And with all the awards and all the workshops I've been running, a lot of people gave feedback saying, we want it quick. I don't have time to actually read the whole book and then get what I need. Is there any way that you can dumb it down? And my gift is take the quiz. Don't think too hard. Whatever color you are, I'm coming up with this unique power kit. It's a journal, which actually, along with these affirmation cards have different colors based on your personality. So spend time every day, just 6 minutes, pick an affirmation card, pick your journal, and then just commit to the mentor framework, saying, did I actually meditate today? Did I notate? What am I really thankful for? And what is my goal just for the day? Just own your day, one day at a time. And if you do that, there is no way on earth you will not get in touch with who you really are and what success means to you. Because I'll say one last thing. Success means different things to different people. So I'm sure you've heard of this 5F, right? Like faith, family, fitness, fun, finances. So maybe success means being a millionaire to me, but to you, it may just mean having 10 friends who are always in your corner, right? And both of us are right. But if my goals are finance-centric and your goals are fun-centric, and then later on you realize that, well, we've been too single-threaded and there needs to be some balance, then that's where Own Your Color and Mentor Framework helps you get in touch with it much quicker than losing a lot of time or months or years.
I love that. Yeah. No, I feel like the common thing I always kind of repeat to myself is that I'm the only thing standing in my way. And I feel like a lot of this stuff is really just pointing out ways that you can get out of your own way. Like
Totally.
meditation, especially, like even just the act of being silent for 5 minutes and like seeing what your mind does, like instead of just having the TV constantly drowning out like every kind of leisurely minute you have, it just helps kind of get yourself out of the way a little bit and open you up to new things. So I think that's great. What would you say? Well, first of all, can you actually just take us through your color? What's a little bit about you that makes you kind of unique in this test?
So it's interesting, and that's what made me actually come up with this. The reality is all of us have a primary color, but we're not just one color. And the more you do own your color, the more you realize that you may actually end up being a trailblazer day 1 and then change to being a dreamer day 2 and maybe an anchor day 3. That doesn't mean the quiz is wrong or that like what happened. What that means is, depending on what's going on in your life and how you're evolving, your colors may also change, and it's all good. So short answer to your question is, I think I'm a rainbow. because I feel like I'm becoming something, I'm evolving, and I'm on this journey of, for 40 plus years of my life, I was all focused on achievement. And only in pandemic, I had this eureka moment that I have lost who I was in this race to prove to the external world how, I can be whatever. So the more I tried to do that, the more I lost myself. And that's why I'm now becoming. And as I'm becoming, I'm a spectrum of colors and not just one color.
I love that. That's great. Well, we're coming up on time here. Is there a final message that you would like to leave with all of our viewers today? Watchers is a weird term, but
yeah, all I would say is there's only one unique you, and the world needs that. So don't try to fit in, don't try to blend in, just own your whole self. And one last thing, Mentor Framework has been proven to really change your life, your family's life, people where you work, and everything, right? So boldness is built one habit at a time. So just commit to it, and you will see that, your sparkle is unmissable and you'll become unstoppable. And I wish you all the luck, all of you.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much, Shikha. I really appreciate you coming on today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Oh, that was wonderful. It's another reminder that I need to get back into actually meditating. I like to talk about how beneficial it has been to me, but I haven't been able to actually bring myself to do it in a while. That's my confession for today. All right, so up next, we are going to be talking with Kay Sparling. Let me go ahead and bring you on stage. Kay, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Kay is the author of the Cold War feminist spy thriller, M.E.N.T.O.R, and I understand that you are here to host a short spy quiz show today, correct?
I am, James. I've already assigned you an agent number and everything.
Oh,
so
goodness. Cool.
I'm going to take you through some things that the first year spy would be do, like for training purposes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, what makes my spy book a little different is, well, first of all, it's based all on true facts. Changed all the names, obviously, to protect people. But the main protagonist is recruited in 1987. She's an American opera apprentice. And she goes to, she gets a Fulbright. She goes over there, and then everything just changes. The CIA approaches her and says, "We've been vetting you for 2 years, and we want to recruit you for a mission." The mission involves CIA, MI6, and it's a human trafficking thing from all the refugees that have been let go by the USSR. All those countries are fleeing into the West, and then East Germany is setting up a trafficking cartel to bring them in and put them in camps and use them because they're on their last legs economically. If the CIA and MI6 are successful, they'll bring down the Berlin Wall. So this was a really important mission, and the main topic is human trafficking and what happens to those refugees. And we'll talk about that a bit later. Right now,
just real quick to clarify, though, you said this is based on a true story. This is a civilian was actually approached and said, "We've been vetting you and we want you to come and join this mission." That's wild.
Absolutely.
That's wild.
It happens all the time. James, usually they look at graduate students in whatever area they may be studying.
That makes sense.
And in Caitlin's situation, that was opera. There was a reason. They needed a very successful young opera singer that'd be willing to go to Europe. And you find that out in the book. But yes, everyone thinks that you just sign up for, like apply to Langley and, that's how you get into CIA. Well, for certain people, that's true. But for people that are actually field agents, they come to you.
Gotcha.
And that's part of that's part of the security system. Yeah. They vet you and without you knowing, maybe 1 year, 2 years, then they give you a reason to be out of the country. Wham, that's when they're going to come to you.
Yeah. Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So take us through this quiz.
Yeah. You're going to be Agent 118.
118.
James,
Okay.
That's your number. Yeah, agent number 118.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you something. And this is all multiple choice for you. Okay. I won't put you on the spot completely. What is the term for a secret, prearranged location used by agents to exchange intel or items without meeting face to face? A, safe house. B, cutout. C, dead drop. D, cash site.
Ooh, they're face to face?
No, we're without being face to face. So they're dropping off an item or information, intel, but the two agents on the same side are not meeting. It's a place. What is it called? Safe house?
I believe it's
dead drop.
I think it's dead drop. Is it dead drop?
It is dead drop. Yay!
Okay.
All right.
Thanks to The Wire for teaching me that one. That was where I got that. It's from HBO.
That's where most people get their stuff. Watching shows. Okay. Now I'm going to give you your dead drop scenario, Agent 118. Okay. You are in Vienna in 1987 during the Cold War. You have been instructed to go to an ad pillar at the intersection of Ringstrasse and Wiense. You will look for an ad for the Amadeus Festival and discreetly take a piece of chalk and write the Roman numeral 12 next to the ad. You get there, you find the pillar, but there is no ad for the Amadeus Festival on that pillar. What do you do? I'm going to give you some scenarios. A, you figure that you were in the right spot at the right pillar, so you quickly make your mark and you walk away. B, you go into the nearest cafe and ask if there is a pillar with the Amadeus Festival nearby. You are looking for more information on the festival. And C, you check the pillar once more for the ad, pan your surroundings, walk away, and take a different route home, watching if you are being tailed.
I'm going to go with C on that one because I think if there's no poster, it should be a sign that the mission is off.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Because
That would
if the
be
mission, if the opposing has figured out something, they probably taken down that ad. And so you could be in grave danger if you don't get yourself out of there and you don't go straight home. We're going to talk about that next. Okay. Here's another scenario. So you Agent 118, are walking in a busy downtown section of Vienna. You are being followed. You feel it. What should you do as an effective counter-surveillance technique to confirm you are really being tailed? All right, so you think someone is, now you're going to do something about it. A, confront the individual directly and ask if they are following you. B, enter a crowded cafe and immediately order a coffee to blend into the crowd. And C, make a sudden change of direction and take a taxi or public transportation and watch for the tailor to do the same. Which one do you think is the safest thing to do?
I think it's C again on this one.
It is. You are doing so good.
All right. Yeah.
You're going to be recruited, boy. Okay, so when spies do that, when they suddenly take a direction, when they get back to headquarters, they're going to say, oh, it was a dry cleaning run. And that just means, I had to abort, I had a feeling I was being tailed. So we call them dry cleaning runs or taking the long way home. That's another way to put
that's funny. Yeah.
And I mean, if you live on the 19th district of Vienna, you're going to go the total opposite way, right? You're going to take a long time going home. And sooner or later, they're going to give up because they're like, well, this isn't giving us anything. But you certainly don't want to go to headquarters, and you certainly don't want to go where you're staying. Okay. Yeah. All right, next one. What is the purpose of a safe house? To provide a hidden location for long-term storage of weapons and supplies, to serve as a secure, neutral location for meetings between opposing intelligence agencies, or C, to be a temporary secure hideout or residence for agents conducting clandestine operations?
It's either A or C. I think I'm going to go with C on this one again.
You got it. Yeah, this has nothing really to do with weapons or anything like that. It is simply field agents on assignment. They've got a cover. Very distinct background, total lies, of course. And this is a place within a very insecure location that supposedly is safe for you. And if need be, you can hide there. Okay. So here's your scenario. You, Agent 118, have been instructed to lay low in a safe house. You are told it is being hosted by a Frau Gruber. And they give you a total description of Frau Gruber, right? Show you a picture and all. When you arrive at the safe house, a male answers the door to greet you. What do you do? A, go ahead and give the password and walk in. B, smile and ask if this is the residence of Frau Gruber. C, look puzzled and say, I'm sorry, I think I'm at the wrong address. Turn and walk away. Or D, ask if he is Herr Gruber.
Ooh. Was this one C? Walk away?
Yeah, look puzzled and say, oh, I'm sorry, I must be at the wrong address. Because who answered the door is, so you got it correct. If he answered the door, it's not who you're supposed to have at all, right? And so therefore, who knows? I mean, poor old Frau Gruber could be tied up or, something bad happened to her in the back, and that's the enemy. And if you walk in that house, boom, it always has to line up. Everything, the description, the password, everything. And one last one, when an agent uses an alternative identity, including a whole fabricated background, literally like a novel, and history, what is the identity called? A, disguise, B, a cover, C, a persona, Are D an alias?
I'm going to go with cover.
Absolutely. You got 100%, man. Yeah, it's a
I feel
cover.
pretty good about that.
An alias is something different. So the cover is always what you want to protect if you're a spy.
Mm.
So you did great.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you coming and giving us that quiz and showing us some of your knowledge. We are running out of time, so do you have a final message you want to leave with our viewers today?
I sure do. The message for today is that the International Labor Organization estimates that 21 million people are being human trafficked today. So please be aware and do whatever you can to help. And my book will show you what these refugees go through once they're trafficked. So that's the message I have. I really want people to be aware of human trafficking. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kay. I appreciate you coming on today, and I hope you have a good one.
Thank you. Maybe you should be a spy.
One of these days. All right, have a good one.
You too.
Thank you so much, Kay, for that. That was such a fun talk. I'm so happy I got to find out that I am a great spy. All right, so we are going to keep things moving. Up next, we've got Patrick Sangiamino. How's it going today, Pat?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So Patrick Sangiamino is the author of Dogs Chase Cars. He's here today to reminisce about his days covering the NFL and what's getting too close to the end zone and the Raiders' notorious black hole. Tell us a little bit about the good old days and what it was like.
Well, you've had some pretty heavy topics on today, so this is kind of the covering sports. We were always called the toy store of the newsroom. So this will be kind of fun for you, I hope.
Palate cleanser.
Yes, exactly. So, covering the NFL was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work too, far more work than you would expect. And the topic that we were talking about, I was looking for a Halloween theme, and you've got a knife through your head, so I can't even come close to topping that. But I was thinking, what is the weirdest thing that I've ever seen in an NFL game? And it's the black hole in Oakland, Los Angeles, now Las Vegas. And these people you're a sports fan, so you know who these people are. Correct.
I actually am pretty sports ignorant, I would say. So I think I need a little bit more context on what the black hole is.
So these people sit in the end zone, and it is like the bar scene from Star Wars almost. They're very apocalyptical in the way they dress. There's a guy dressed as Darth Vader. There's a guy in a gorilla suit. They all wear this silver and black. That's the theme. Black is the theme. So it's kind of scary when you go down there. Well, I remember a game I covered back in the 90s when they were still playing in LA, and the LA Coliseum had been ravaged by the North Ridge earthquake. So it was kind of the game was played there, but the press box was out in the middle of the crowd, and it was kind of weird. And then we had to walk through the crowd onto the field to get to the locker rooms. And so they shepherded us down in the final minutes, and we were down in the end zone right in front of the black hole for the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game. And it was Christmas Eve, which made it even more interesting because there was this just juxtaposition of this, everybody's merry and bright, except for these people who you're looking at, and they're just, they look scary. It looks like Halloween. So I remember walking up to one of the guys and that got close, and I just wanted to, I was curious. So I asked him a question, and it turned out he was dressed in all black, and he looked like something out of a Hell's Angels movie. And he was actually an accountant. And the guy next to him, he was a real estate agent. So I just realized that everybody loves Halloween, and some people get to do it, 10 times a year at NFL games. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. So how long were you doing that kind of work?
I was I covered the NFL for 8 years, and I became a columnist. And I was in the newsroom for various newsrooms for about 40 years. And the book that I've written is basically about the downturn in the newspaper industry, and it's through the eyes of a longtime sports columnist who's driving to work, expecting to be the latest casualty in a mass layoff. So this it's a very real theme with a lot of good sports stories in it, but more importantly, it's a story of relationships and the people who helped you get to where you are, the people who the book takes place over a single day, but flashes back to those seminal moments in a career, but also to those people who helped you get to where you were. And at the end of the day, it's a cautionary tale of, well, I believe it's a cautionary tale of needing to strike a balance between a home life and a work life, because he bet everything he had on a career. And at the end of the day, the career kind of let him down, and he was all alone because all of those relationships he'd allowed to just go away. So
yeah. So what was it like? Well, so first of all, what years were you working as a sports reporter?
I started in the 80s, and I went all the way into the mid 2000s, and then moved over into the news side, and started writing big boy news, maybe just about other things. By the time I finished, I was writing about basically I would find a topic I wanted to write about, and would go out and dig in. I did a story on the history of the Reuben sandwich and where it was founded. I wrote,
That's
3,000 words on something silly like that, but it was one of the most
That's a
fun
lot of
stories.
words. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a lot of
Yeah.
words for that story.
Yes, exactly. But it was amazing, tracking where this sandwich, because there are so many cities that claim its
Mhm.
originality. So
Yeah. What do you have any like stories from over the years that like when you think back, it's like the one that pops into your head as being exceptionally important or meaningful or impactful?
Um, in the book we transport to a lot of those stories, but it's more so how they juxtapose with where we are in society, like the O.J. Simpson Bronco chase, and
Mhm.
where I was and what I was covering that night is just fascinating, and how the how the athletes were just as into it as America. And, they played a baseball game that night in less than 2 hours, which is unbelievably quick. But they wouldn't talk to us until OJ was out of the Bronco. And, there was some finality to that moment that night. But they
You felt like
wanted,
the baseball teams were like rushing through the game to get
oh,
back to the news?
absolutely.
That is wild.
That game got played so quickly, and I don't think there was any a coincidence to that. I think that game got played, and everybody got inside and ran to the TV. And it was funny because walking into a clubhouse, everybody was gathered around that TV, and they were watching, and they wanted us to fill them in on what they missed while they were playing baseball. And it was fun. It was actually just, it was a snapshot of society at that point.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's really wild to kind of think about. So when you transition from sports into writing, I think you called it big boy news. What
Well, is a Reuben sandwich really big boy news? Yeah, other than your waistline.
Yeah. When you did that, do you feel like you had like did you miss the sports reporting side of things, or?
I did, but there comes a time in life when you realize that sports take place at night and on weekends. And if you want
Mhm.
some semblance of a real life, being a sports reporter is probably not the one you should choose, because you're kind of imprisoned by when the games take place.
Yeah. No, I hear that fully. That makes sense. Well, Pat, we're coming up on time here, but I wanted to make sure to ask you, as well as the others, what's one message that you would like to make sure that we leave with all of our viewers today?
I think this is a book about relationships and the people around you, and making sure that they understand what they mean to you, and not to take those things for granted. There's a great storyline with the sports writer and his father, and he never really got a chance to tell him what he meant to him until it was too late. His dad had died, and so it becomes this prevailing theme of loving the people around you and letting them know how much you love them.
All right. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I appreciate you coming on in general. I hope you have a great day, and thanks
I've
for a great
enjoyed
talk.
this as well. I've enjoyed this a great deal, and I hope you take care of that knife in your head real soon.
I think it'll be gone tomorrow. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well, good.
All right. Have a good one, Pat.
Take care.
All right. That was fun. Okay, cool. So we're gonna move right on. Before I do, just as a reminder, we do have some book giveaways going on right now. So make sure that you sign up. We are still going to be doing that for a couple of minutes. So get in there while you can and try to claim your free bundle of books. But for now, we are going to move on to Preethi. I'm going to go ahead and bring you on stage. Hi, Preethi. How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Preethi Srinivas, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Preethi Srinivas, author of VJ Visits a Farm, is here to highlight the emerging trend of mission-driven storytelling and how authors can align their creativity with the causes that they care about. And I am so excited to hear more about this. Can you start off by just talking about how you've done this and some of the causes that you're working for?
Sure. Yeah. So I can talk about the nonprofit that I founded and how that kind of led me to actually getting onto this journey of being an author. So outside of my day job, I manage a nonprofit called Befriend Cows, and we are on a mission to inspire families to be more close to animal sanctuaries and rescued animals for a more kinder planet. Interestingly, my journey into becoming an author was inspired by, my experiences in watching children in these facilities like farmed animal sanctuaries. It's interesting to see that children, by nature, they are born with a deep, deep empathy. It's just that a lot of times they need that space and context to be able to express that. Especially towards animals that is viewed in a different way by the society. Right. And what I really started to find fascinating was how children would immediately understand that animals have personalities, they have an agency, they have feelings when they are given that opportunity to get closer to them. So that became my cause eventually. Of course, again, it's kind of related to the nonprofit I started, right? And I wanted to write about that. And this is where I think it got more, interesting for me, because I wanted to tie the cause that I was passionate about to the stories that I was telling, right? And that kind of did this double duty of not only helping me share great stories, but also help make a difference in the world. And what I mean by that is, one, of course, the story has these characters that the readers get emotionally attached to, and they actually feel invested in what happens to the characters, and eventually, after reading, if they are emotionally moved, they want to do something. And a lot of times, the books that I publish have some form of partnership with the sanctuary, and so immediately people are like, okay, I want to go look up what this sanctuary does. I want to go support them. So it becomes more like an ecosystem of like, I'm a reader reads, that leads to caring leads to some form of action. And support is not always just offering financial funds, right? Which is, of course, great. It makes a difference. But it's also that people start to think and they start to recognize or question, what is my role in this planet? And who am I as a consumer of different products on this planet? And can I be a more conscious consumer? And that kind of leads to behavior change. I think that's where it started to get really exciting for me, especially with one of my books here, Vijay Visits a Farm. So interestingly, the lead character in this book, his Vijay, he would rather stay at home and play video games. But then his mother sort of takes him to an animal sanctuary, and then he meets a girl named Lily. And then she sort of is this person who has knowledge and compassion, and she sort of leads him to understanding or recognizing that animals, such as a cow, as shown in this picture, that they have agency, feelings, and personalities. And then, eventually Vijay wants to visit again, and he wants to bring his friends to visit. Uh, what was really cool as I started working on this project was it was almost like a ripple effect, I guess. I started to see an interesting pattern because I was doing a little bit of research outside of my lived experiences as well. So I came across animal cognition and behavior research that animals have a lot of agency. Cows, for instance, they have a very complex social relationship. They exist in herds. They have friendships. They hold grudges and so on. And when children recognize this, they start to see them as beings, sentient beings, right? And what was even more interesting was, interestingly, there is a pattern in terms of how animals as characters become gendered in stories. Too often in children's literature, we would see animals are automatically gendered, are skewed towards being male. Whereas, in some cases, if the animal happens to be gentle or has gentle attributes, they are more gendered towards the female end, like deer, rabbits, for instance, are more female. Whereas, if you think about bold animals like lions and bears, they are more kind of skewing towards the male. So even in well-meaning authors, it kind of happens subconsciously. And, it's what's even more interesting is a lot of times in children's literature, I started to see that animals were represented as it, which kind of like sort of objectifies them, and that kind of leads children to believe that, okay, they are objects or commodities to consume. So I started to see all of these patterns, and I started to feel like, okay, can I, in addition to storytelling, try to break away from the stereotypes, and can I make intentional choices about how I'm positioning animal and human characters. And that's why, one of the things you would see in the book is the cow is curious. She leads some of the interactions with the human, and the characters, human characters, for instance, Lily, she is female, but she still has knowledge and compassion, which can come from any person, right? And when children read, when they associate with these kind of characters and personalities, they are able to feel like, okay, this is what I see in real world, this is what I'm reading in the book, and it becomes so much easier for them to understand who they are.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I had a realization not that long ago that like a big problem in just like the lived experience of all of us right now is that we're completely detached from all of the production of our food, for the most part. And like, and this is myself as well, like when I buy a burger at the store, like that could have basically just been made by magic as far as I know. Like I know so little about the entire process, let alone like the raising of cattle, treating cattle well, and all these kind of other things that I should know about in order to like ethically consume my food, right? And so I think that it's great that you're kind of taking like a step in that direction with the youth, and introducing them to this idea early on, because that was literally an epiphany I had like a year ago. And so yeah, but in terms of like our viewers, what kind of advice would you have for anyone who's trying to take a cause that they're really passionate about, and build their own career off it?
Sure. Yeah. If for authors thinking about this approach, my suggestion would be is pick something that you're really that you genuinely care about, right? Like you cannot fake passion, right? So
Mhm.
because otherwise readers are going to know you're just strapping something to the story,
Yeah.
right? But if you pick something that you genuinely care about, that mission will really drive what you're trying to achieve, and that's where magic really happens.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's pretty exciting that a book could help you share a great story, but can also help make the world a little better, right? So
Absolutely.
and I think that's a win-win, not only for the author, for the cast, but also for the reader, which is most important, right? Because we are trying to think about like a cost-centered but also a reader-centered story. So,
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that that's really important. Like, I think a lot of times people try to start with like, what's the most popular thing for me to care about instead of just like, what's the thing I really care about the most? And there's like no shame in the fact that like things that are really important don't necessarily like hit your heart as much as it hits other people's. Like you can't
mhm.
possibly care about everything. That'd be way too
Oh,
many things. So I think that's a
yeah.
great piece of advice. Like just start by asking like, what do I actually care about? And because you have to build a whole thing off of that, right? You can't
Mhm.
just like build it from scratch. So yeah, no, I think that's really important. Um, do you have any other kind of books that you've been able to write along this topic that you
Yeah,
care about?
yeah. So this book specifically, I just have a physical copy of this one. This one became a fundraiser for a couple of sanctuaries in the US.
Oh,
It raised
cool.
funds to help feed rescued animals at a few places in the US. I have another young adult slash adult novel that ended up being a bestseller,
Wow,
and
awesome. Yeah.
that has a more deeper tiered kind of story that has comedy, drama, and the story is set in India. I am originally from India, so I
Mhm.
kind of I have actually witnessed the situation of bovine or cattle, and in cattle is actually, I wouldn't use that word because it's kind of something that already gives the impression that cows are meant to be consumed as products.
Yeah.
But bovine
Objects.
animals
Yeah.
in general, they have a very different, complex setup in India from different perspectives: culture, faith, economics, politics, all of it put together. And it's a fiction novel, but the central character is the 11-year-old boy and how he befriends a cow in his neighborhood. And I think the best part about either of the books is what the readers do after they have put down the book, right? So once they have
Mhm.
finished reading, it's really exciting to see that people now care. They want to go visit an animal sanctuary. It's not that they are just going there to pet these animals, right? That's not it anymore. It's like they are watching for personalities. They want to hear the life stories of these animals, and they want to see them as complex beings that they truly are. And I
Yeah.
think that's where it makes a huge difference for me as an author, that it's, yeah, the fundraising is great. It's definitely important. But beyond that, people get curious and they want to do something and they want to make a difference in this world. And that could be either them helping an organization or them actually internally reflecting and bringing about a behavior change in terms of how they are as consumers on this planet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think that's amazing, and I'm really excited that you're working on that. That's a really great cause to be aligned with. We are out of time, but do you have a real quick message you might like to leave with our viewers?
I think in terms of like writing to support a mission, like I said earlier, pick one that you genuinely care about, and that will help you sort of frame the story that you want to say or share with the world. In terms
Mm.
of animal welfare, do check out my website and my books, I guess, and do reach out. I hope
Yeah, awesome.
everybody, has a great time as you sort of on board this journey.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Preeti. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us.
Thank you very much.
All right, have a good one. All right, and that concludes another great edition of the Author Chats during the Book Fest. Thank you to everyone who joined us. We had 10 amazing authors, 10 amazing topics, and 10 great conversations. So really appreciate everyone who came on today. And then for those of you looking for your virtual gift bag, that will happen at the conclusion of tomorrow. So make sure you show up tomorrow. We got another great day of programming for the BookFest Day 2. So make sure you show up and see what we got to offer. My name's Jay Gordon Curtis again, and we'll see you next time. I appreciate you joining us this time.